Happy Memorial Day. At least if you're watching real time, this is the Friday before Memorial Day, and this is our live podcast version. What we do here is we answer your questions. You email me, podcast@grangersmith.com, and I answer whatever you want. On these live formats, which we've been doing about once a month, you could ask questions right here in the chat. So I will read some that you've emailed to me, podcast@grangersmith.com. And I will also read some right off of this chat, which works out great. Another cool thing that's going on today is the Yee Yee Apparel military launch. First ever time we've ever done at Yee Yee, we've done a military launch. And we thought it'd be appropriate right before Memorial Day to put out this new military gear from Yee Yee. And in fact, we're gonna go over there to the Yee Yee farm right now and talk to Tyler and Parker, two brothers. There they are, if you're watching. What's up, fellas?
What's up, man?
What's going on?
So tell us about this military launch for the first time.
Yeah, like 6 months ago, people were reaching out saying they wish we had more military stuff, and realized that we'd never done a military launch before. And I figured Memorial Day weekend could be a good time to do it. And so we were able to partner with Folds of Honor and give a portion of proceeds back to them. So we designed 5 new shirts, 3 new hats, a bracelet 3-pack. And I'm excited. This is one of those cool launches that is supporting a good cause and like aligns with what our people wanted.
Yeah, me and Tyler are wearing a shirt from it right there. And it's good stuff, man. It's cool stuff. Parker, were you the one that designed these shirts? Because I wasn't part of it, actually.
Tyler and I both usually come up with a bunch of different concepts, and then Tyler's usually win. So most of them were him, and then I think the red shirt was me.
Okay.
And I designed the hat I have on. Tyler designed the hat he has on.
Granger, why don't you tell people a little bit about your love for the military and what you've done in the past? It's kind of a long time coming that we finally did a launch, but as far as your tours in Iraq, when you did music, They Were There documentary, the boot walk, all that good stuff.
Yeah, it's a little strange that we haven't done a military launch yet. I mean, we've given back, Yee Yee's given back to a bunch of different organizations that support our military. But it is strange because really it is the first, I guess you could say, the first philanthropy that we were involved with, not just at Yee Yee, but before Yee Yee, as when it was just Granger Smith Music, we were taking tours in Iraq. And those are, when people ask me so many times, they say, what is either your favorite memory from being a musician or the best concert you ever played? It's very difficult. And we've played concerts all over the world, all 50 states. We've seen so many beautiful things, so many beautiful people, so many incredible venues. But it's really hard for me not to say, well, probably one of the FOBs in Iraq. And that really set a tone for me, seeing the way that these men and women were serving. When the first time I went in 2007, and then in 2008, I went for Christmas and New Year's. And I went twice in 2008 and 2009 and 2007. So to see these men and women working, especially during Christmas, when December the 25th was like a normal day, there was nothing different in Iraq and that FOB, that little FOB we went to. And it wasn't like a Toby Keith tour where we had massive stages and massive groups of people. It was a very small FOBs with no bathrooms, no running water. And so, yeah, it was an incredible experience to see men and women that have served us so well. I wish you guys could have gone, actually, in hindsight.
Yeah, I remember that conversation we had at your old house in College Station. It's either a conversation we had that you were going, or it's the last time we saw you before we went. And Mom and Dad were pretty worried because we were in war and you were going to all those bases right on the front lines.
So I saw Chad played with me in that first tour in Iraq in 2007, and he now plays for Carrie Underwood. And I went recently to that church in Franklin, Tennessee, Carrie Underwood's church, for Carrie's husband, Mike. And Mike is known for a bunch of things, not just being Carrie's husband. So I hate to say it that way, but I saw Chad there, and Chad was like, "Man, I'll never forget that first tour in Iraq with you in 2007." And I suddenly remembered, I thought, because he said there are things I still haven't told my mom about, and I was like, "Oh, Chad, I keep forgetting that me and you, that there's not a lot of people I still hang out with today that remember the stories of the Blackhawks."
Weren't you locked on, like missiles locked on, and y'all had to like divert? And
there were crazy times. There was one specific time. I mean, many times we had to hit a bunker because we had to get into the bunker because mortar rounds were hitting the base of the concert we were playing. So we were playing a concert several times. Like, I don't even know how many, but several times a mortar hit the building we were playing in the middle of the concert, where we had to stop playing the concert. The quick reaction force jumped it all out of the concert hall, or the basketball court, or wherever we were, and it went running out the door to go respond. Everyone else went into the bunker with us, these big concrete bunkers, and we would stay there until we get a call of all clear. And sometimes that would take an hour to get the call of all clear, because they were searching to see what damage was done, or if anyone was lost, and if any more mortars were coming, if this was an attack or not. So there was those several concerts. And then one time in a Blackhawk, the Blackhawk flights were always crazy because we're going fob to fob, and that's the main form of transportation there. That's like the Greyhound bus in Iraq at the time. And one particular time, we were flying right at sunset, and we're going over a pretty hostile area, and an RPG locked onto our Blackhawk, the one we were in. And the pilot, just did these maneuvers to get away from the RPG, let out the flares. And I never knew. You guys, we live close to Fort Hood, the Fort Cavazos. The Blackhawks fly over quite a bit. We see them. They just look like these big black, transport helicopters. But those things can maneuver like never before. I mean, we were completely vertical. We were completely sideways. We were completely in 90 degrees the other side. We were going straight up again. All of us were holding a backpack in our arms, and all the backpacks went to the roof and just stayed on the roof. And we were just flying like upside down, sideways, back, just like a throttle that I have never felt in any roller coaster or any race car or monster truck, mega truck I've ever sat in. I've never felt anything like it. And then when we finally leveled, all our backpacks fell down into our laps at the same time. And we were like, what? And then all of a sudden, we were way out in the middle of the desert. We were going over this little village in Iraq. And then all of a sudden, we were in the middle of the desert, and it was all clear, and we're flying really close to the ground. These helicopters have no doors or windows. So I was on the edge, just buckled in. And so the times we would go sideways, it's just me and the desert, and the some white Toyota truck below me. And it was like no Six Flags ride I have ever been on. We get home, we land at the landing zone at the place we were going. And those helicopters, it was always two, one that the band rode in, and then one that our music equipment rode in. They landed, we jumped out. It was dark by now, and they just took off and went right back where we came from, like back to work. And we didn't even know. We told the commanding officer with us, we said, what happened? And he said, RPG locked on. Happens all the time. Like, no big deal. And those two guys were flying right back into it again, just back to work.
So why didn't the RPG locked on? Why didn't they shoot? Just because you got out of range in time or something, or what?
No, they were shooting at us. They were shooting small arms, and they were shooting rockets at us. And
were you equipped with anything, like any kind of gun or anything?
There's two gunners, 50 cal guns, machine guns on either side, like you see in like a B-24.
Yeah.
So there's two gunners with either a 240 Bravo or a 50 cal, depending on the aircraft. And those guys were firing, and on either side, and they have to fire every time we fly, at least in the desert, just to make sure they're not jammed. So those two guys or girls are on either side of the Blackhawk in the open doors. But the flares drop out and intercept the heat-seeking missiles of any kind.
Mm.
So I mean, I can't even make these stories up. But I'll never forget when we got out, looking back, me not even knowing what just happened. I just rode the craziest ride of my life. And to them, their faces were normal. They weren't like, oh, that was crazy. They were just like, flew back off, just back the same direction we just came. So yeah, wild stuff, man. And that's just stories we don't ever hear, and no one talks about it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And so usually what happens was there was some terrorist group, we won't say their name on live on YouTube, but they were most likely tracking the Army would change their flight plans constantly to try to always fool the enemy. But sometimes the enemy would get a correct intelligence from some kind of inside source, and they would know 2 Blackhawks are flying over here at 50 feet. They'll be coming over the east side at so-and-so coordinates, and they'd have a couple guys up on a roof with RPGs ready to shoot.
Did you ever see later some of those guys, like some of those pilots on stories like that and situations like that? Did you ever see them years later, like back home in the US at a show?
Yeah. A lot of times they still do. Like sometimes they'll come to a sermon, but they used to come to concerts all the time and say, I saw you at Fob Warhorse in 2008. And I'm like, oh man, those crazy times. But those Blackhawks would also get shot down a bunch. And I used to think that if a Blackhawk got shot down, that we would hear about it on the news. And the reality is we don't. They actually get shot down quite a bit. I don't know about now. I'm so out of the loop now, but that was back in the Iraqi days. So anyway, so it's neat. Full circle military launch, Yee Yee Apparel today. It just means more. It means more.
Are we showing any products at all, or?
I don't think
show them. Show what you got. Have somebody in the back throw you some stuff. We might as well.
This is one of the hats. That's really cool. We've never actually done a hat like this.
If you're listening, just know it's cool.
Susan from Alabama says, "What's up?" She's glad to be here. Yeah. Stinger PK says, "Hey, Smith Brothers from Japan. I just ordered my military launch items." That's cool. Anna says, "Good morning from Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic." Terry says, "Good morning from Myrtle Beach." Abigail says, "It's a beautiful launch. I bought some of the things." Can you guys see what I'm seeing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Jacob said, "Hey, Granger from Minnesota." Ant-Man's pulling them from all over right now. Timon, the Buckeye. I think that's how you say it. What's up, Granger? It's finally Friday. He's quoting after midnight. And Mackay, maybe? What's up, Granger? Mackay. Yeah. Click over to Ant-Man. Let's see Ant-Man. We got to get a shot at Ant. Can't forget he is with us producing the show right now. Sandy says, "In memory of the fallen soldiers, thank you for all of your service. God bless you." Yeah. God bless all of you service members. That's why we're doing this launch today. Lisa says, "Howdy from Donnie at Georgetown, Texas."
Love that.
Yeah. Awesome, guys. Have somebody behind you throw us a shirt or something. Like, so
I got some.
You got some? Let's see it. Freedom in free right there.
We got a bunch of different tees. 2 of the hats that we got are actually like you can bend the brim a little bit more. A lot of people request those. So I figured a good time to have that would be military launch. So this one I have on black multicam with a bendable brim.
Yeah.
And then
Is that a removable patch, or is that the flag?
Do I?
Is that removable? Is that like Velcro?
No, it's not.
It looks like it. Yeah. Yeah. You guys, for people just listening, we're actually in the warehouse right now, as you can see. You can see everybody. It's like live correspondence from Fox News right now, as everyone's sending out boxes. Somebody just ordered something, and it's actually you're watching them pack it right now.
We got a lot of requests for this. I actually didn't know about Red, but there's like a huge trend right now called Red Fridays, where people wear red on Fridays, and so it's a cool way for people to be able to rock Yee Yee, and then also just in their workplace be able to wear red.
Who started that?
Stands for Remember Everyone Deployed.
Did anybody start that, or it's a cool
I
idea?
couldn't tell you the history. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then a few other shirts. Sorry.
That's a good question.
Yeah. So while Parker's showing these shirts here on, if you're watching on Instagram or X or YouTube, I will get to your questions here in a minute, like we normally do. You could email me podcast@grangersmith.com or just drop a question in the chat here. But right now we're just checking out this military launch.
That's pretty much it, man. It's a limited quantity. It's probably going to sell out quick. But yeah, we're excited.
You guys have to answer this from Not Phelps. Will Yee Yee Apparel ever have big and tall sizes?
If we get enough requests for it, it's kind of like people who ask for left-handed golf clubs, and then you make them, and then one buys them, and then you're left with a lot of left-handed golf clubs. I'd love to. Keep asking, and then if we see it enough times, maybe we can do it. I don't know any manufacturers who do it right now. Do you?
No, we can ask though.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, so the answer is, yeah, we're working on it. Well, cool, guys. I know you're probably busy. Thank you guys for taking your 17 minutes of really a busy time at Yee Yee Apparel. Anytime we launch something, you guys are all hands on deck. So thanks for spending a few minutes with us.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having us.
Cool.
Appreciate it.
See you guys. Yee Yee.
See ya.
See you guys.
All right, Ant, what you want? You want to take a break? You want to answer a question?
Yeah, let's take a break real quick. Come
Okay.
back. We've got some other comments and questions coming in from every place we're streaming live, and then I know we have some emails too.
Cool. We'll be right back.
You know, when I first started this crazy music thing, having an online store was like the last thing on my mind. I just wanted to write songs and play concerts. The irony in me now is that I no longer play concerts, but I still have an online shop. That's what pays the bills. And thank goodness that so long ago, it was made so easy for us to have that online shop at Yee Yee because of Shopify. Shopify is your global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. From the very beginning to the, hey, I think we're doing pretty good stage, Shopify is there to help you grow. Whether you're selling scented soap or Yee Yee Apparel, Shopify helps sell everywhere. From their all-in-one e-commerce platform to their in-person POS system, wherever or whatever you're selling, Shopify's got you covered. It also helps turn browsers into buyers with the internet's best converting checkout, 36% better on average compared to all the other leading commerce platforms. And sell more with less effort thanks to Shopify Magic, your AI-powered all-star. I figured out a long time ago, I do not want to get into the weeds of actually the mechanics of selling with an online store. I want to make a product. I want to be creative. I want to put it up on social media, talk about it on a podcast, and then hopefully you like it and hopefully you buy it. But I don't want to be part of the clique, you know? I don't want to be part of, well, how do you pay for that? And Shopify does that for me. And it's not just me. Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S., plus also 175 other countries. Plus, Shopify's award-winning help is there to support your success every step of the way because businesses that grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Granger, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Granger now to grow your business no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/Granger.
All right, grateful that we have some ads to help pay the bills and keep the utility around here. And we're gonna see some questions here on the screen, and we're gonna answer them from you guys. If you have a question, email podcast@grangersmith.com, or if you're live with me right now and you happen to be listening live, just drop a comment here in the chat. Anna says, "Hey, and thank you for sharing this last sermon that you shared." Yeah, thank you, Anna. I try to, if the venue or the church records it, I'll put it up for you guys. Billy says you need to do another boot walk. That was a fun week. You know what's crazy? Yeah, well, I won't go there, but I was going to say that the mission bug really scratches the boot walk.
I bet. Yes.
I'll actually be doing a walk coming up here in just a few days in Latin America in boots. Yeah, through the mountains. Stephanie says, love everything you guys do. Thank you, Stephanie. Appreciate that. Susan says, is Earl coming on the live? Hey, Earl, I'm too country to be on y'all's live. Okay, he said he's too country to be on the live. Danny and Nadine says, hey, Granger, sure enjoyed hearing you in Bismarck. That was a great time. Thank you for coming to that. Donita says, all gave some gave all. Happy Memorial Day and God bless. Thank you guys so much. And if you want to see me, you could go to grangersmith.com. I have appearances. What was that one from North Carolina?
Yeah.
Sherry, I just got back from North Carolina. was it yesterday? I got back from North Carolina. So,
wow.
so yeah, you guys, I'm actually going back in July, the end of July. I'll be preaching in North Carolina in Raleigh. So maybe I'll see you there, Sherry. But any of you guys, if you want to see me, go to grangersmith.com. And right on that first page, it has appearances. And almost everything I do now, is free to come see me, which is really cool. It's no more days of expensive ticket concert prices.
Free 99 is good.
Yes, free 99. Andrea says,
sorry.
like in these lives during the launches. Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Well, thank you, Andrea. Tyler called me right before we did this, and he's like, should we be doing this? Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Jimmy Crouch said, I believe Red Fridays have been a thing for some years now. Glad Yee Yee has jumped on board. Yeah, thank you, Jimmy.
Yeah, good stuff. You want to hit an email?
Let's do it.
We got several, and we got a few for this show.
Let's do it. First one here says, Granger, podcast 239 was great and so informative, which I don't know which one that was. He says, I think it would be great and helpful to others to see a dedicated podcast on how to serve others from a biblical perspective. I grew up on a farm helping and serving my family, and I still do to this day, but now being in my 20s and having other opportunities to serve, it can be difficult to decide where I am best needed. It's hard for me to say no, to turn things down, so that often leads to relationship stress with me and my girlfriend. I would like to thank you all for doing what you do through the name of the Lord. From a fellow brother in Christ, Chase. Yeah, Chase, I appreciate you, man. I don't know exactly what your question is, besides you're just kind of commenting on sometimes it's difficult to serve from a biblical perspective because when you serve anything, I guess we could say it this way, when you serve anybody or anything, someone's getting left out.
Yeah.
In this case, maybe the girlfriend. And that's a problem. I would say if your girlfriend, if you are wholeheartedly serving someone or some organization or some cause or church, and your girlfriend is stressed or it's putting stress on your relationship because you are serving, that's interesting. And maybe we should check our hearts on that one and wonder if this is the right relationship to be in. That's kind of where I would start this. Maybe we should, out of everything you said, maybe we should be thinking more. If you and I were riding in the cab of a truck and having this conversation, I would say maybe we should be questioning this relationship a little bit more. Although it doesn't necessarily have to be bad. I know that you could serve too much, and that's kind of the airplane theory I have. When the oxygen masks drop out of the airplane, you got to put the mask on yourself first before you could then put the mask on the others. That's sometimes in the same way of serving, that sometimes if we become over servers, then the things closest to us around us get neglected. In this case, this relationship. So we'll keep thinking through this. And I want you to think about Romans 12:2 whenever you're thinking through this. Really meditate on that verse. You want to hit another one?
Yeah.
And I were watching a sermon, and the pastor said, when we are born again, we are given a new spirit, but have the same mind. Interesting. I just said Romans 12:2. Let's read that with this too as well. Philippians 4:8 was his reference. We are to fix our minds. God doesn't fix it for us. It is our opportunity to take authority of captivity, any thought that exalts itself. God doesn't change the past. We move forward. Jesus said, let the dead bury the dead and follow me. Past is unchanged. Seize the day. Our past thoughts and ways can hinder our walk. These are just observations here. And then he says, is it possible to acknowledge Christ with your mind, but never receive him in your heart? It appears to me they are separate. I love Jesus, and I know he's in my heart, and I'm being too relaxed. Am I being too relaxed with my loved ones who may acknowledge in their mind, but looks to have not surrendered their heart? Okay. I mean, your first question is it possible to acknowledge Christ with your mind, but never receive him in your heart? Absolutely. Yeah. Jesus talked about that all the time. That was the Pharisees. And so outward understanding, intellectual understanding of who God is and how we are reconciled through his son is, Satan knows that. Satan understands that, right? And so you could absolutely acknowledge him with your mind, but never receive him in your heart. But you need to understand that the very first thing you said, talking about being born again, you'd have to go to John 3 and listen to Jesus's conversation with Nicodemus. And Nicodemus is saying, "What are you talking about? Born again? How could I be born again? Well, I've already been born." And Jesus says that you're born once from water and another time from the Spirit. And the time you're born with the Spirit, you don't know. You don't have any control over that. And you could look at it this way: you weren't in control of your first birth, and you're not in control of your second. The Spirit comes like the wind. You don't know where it comes from, and you don't know where it's going. And so we have to be careful not to say, I know I could take captive thoughts in my mind, but I also can captive emotions with my heart. We have to be careful with that. Because if you're talking about being given a new heart, you can't give yourself a new heart. So these are things for you to meditate. The Bible is very clear about this. And so I would walk through stuff like Ephesians 2.
Ephesians 4.
Ephesians
4 talks about the spirit of your mind.
Yeah.
I pulled it up here. Assuming that you have heard about him and were taught in him as the truth in Jesus, to put off your old self, which belongs to your former manner of life and is corrupt through deceitful desires, and to be renewed in the spirit of your minds, and to put on the new self.
Yeah. Yeah. So put on the new self when you've received a new heart. And so John 6, John 10, John 17, Ephesians 2, Ephesians 4, Romans 8 and 9. Go there and just lap it up. Just lap it up, man. Thank you for the email. Should we hit another one?
Yeah,
what do you want to do?
I think we got time for one more, and we maybe take a quick break.
Okay. Hey, Granger, I'm Wyatt. I'm 16 years old. I'm a Christian. There's this girl. So many years my podcast has started with those words. There's this girl at church in my youth group, and I'm good friends with her, and she loves the outdoors, and I would love to get to know her more and maybe go out on a date, but go about it in a group setting, in a Christian way, he says. Do you have any advice or suggestions on how to go about this? Oh, Wyatt, to be 16.
I read so many of these that come into you.
Yeah,
So,
I know you do.
Yeah, I mean, but it's funny how this is obviously why we also talked about going to doing topics, because we could address a lot of people at one time. But pulling up Wyatt's was, I thought, encompassed a lot of emails that came in before and after Wyatt's that talked about, I mean, almost to the letter, the exact same thing.
Yeah. These questions, this line of questioning is called "There's This Girl."
It's a Riley Green song.
Yeah, it's a Riley Green song. So, Wyatt, you're 16, and there's this girl in your youth group, and you're good friends with her. She loves the outdoors. I get it. And you want to get to know her more, and you maybe go out on a date with her. And you want to do it in a good, respectable way, which is in a group setting, which I agree with. It's dangerous to be alone with this girl. Why risk that kind of temptation? So, man, I think you're doing all the right things, and I think so many times life just plays out with just vulnerable conversation. And so you go out in the group, and there's no like right way to approach this, and there's no special pickup line. But I'm always a fan of being vulnerable. And you go up to her, and you're in this group setting, which I think is courageous and right.
It's good.
And you just say, "Hi, I'm Wyatt. I don't know if we've officially met or not, but I just think you're a really neat person. And I love that you like the outdoors like I do. And this is kind of embarrassing for me, but I really like you. And I just really wanted to get to know you a little bit more." And I just think being vulnerable like that with her is the best way to do it. Because if you stumble and you go, I really want to get that. I'm sorry, I'm stuttering right now. I just think when you stutter and when you mess up and when you trip over your words, all of it's okay in that setting. But if you're trying to be cool, you're trying to say the right thing, and then you stutter, then it's really stupid. So Wyatt, you've got a lot of life ahead of you. And this is probably the first of many times you'll have this feeling until it's the last time and you get married, and Lord willing, you spend the rest of your life with a woman. And this is practice until that. But I'll say be vulnerable. Open up to her in a group setting.
That's great. That's great. You want to take a break?
Yeah, let's take a break.
You know, I heard about this company recently, and I was happy that they were going to sponsor the podcast. It's the Wellness Company. So here's the deal. You wake up. We've all done this. You wake up with like a scratchy, sore throat, congestion, runny nose, and you think, I know what this is. I'm getting sick. So what are your choices at that point? You could just tough it out, get sick, let it run its course, and take all the time off work. Or you could hope to see the doctor. You know, no one wants to do that. It might take 4 weeks to get in. Or you can go to the urgent care clinic. It's expensive, and you got to sit in the room with all those sick people. Nobody wants any of those things. So here's the other option. Open up your medical emergency kit. Match your symptoms to the doctor-recommended prescription. Start on the right meds and nip this in the bud right now. Doesn't that sound good? Your medical emergency kit is not a first aid kit. It comes with doctor-prescribed meds to treat over 39 medical issues. So it's got strong antibiotics for infections of all types, strep throat, pneumonia, UTIs, bronchitis, and so much more. Plus, a doctor's easy guide so you'll know exactly what and when to take this stuff. No waiting to see the doctor, no waiting at the pharmacy. It's all right there. I'm telling y'all, every home should have at least one medical emergency kit, including missionaries. Order yours online in minutes. Your kit's going to be rushed to your door. Get 15% off at twc.health/Granger and use promo code Granger. That's promo code Granger at twc.health/Granger.
I want to tell everybody we will be doing a live podcast soon. Not
In person.
Not just on the screen.
Okay.
But in person.
You want to do it in person in front of a crowd?
I've been talking to Tyler about this. We are going to do this. We're going to set up a tour. Okay. It's not going to be a heavy tour. It's not going to be super busy, but we're going to do like 2 dates a week. Do it at a reasonable hour in a reasonable city where I can get there, you know, like on Southwest Airlines or something, in a central location. So if you have an idea for me, maybe we can comment now, or you can comment here if you're listening to this right now. What's a good city? I'm thinking like Kansas City for one.
That's a good one.
And
I was going to say everybody's going to say my city.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. So, you know, we go to Kansas City. That's kind of the
that's great.
Bottom of the Midwest. And then we go up to maybe like Minnesota, you know, the Tri-Cities, or maybe the Chicago area that gets the upper Midwest.
Michigan.
Yeah, it kind of covers that. Mm-hmm. And then we go out west and we do something like, I don't know, you guys help me here. We do either Portland area.
That's what I was going to say. Somewhere in Oregon.
Yeah. And then we go out east and we would do 2 in each of these places. And so like 1 week we would do, say, Kansas City and Des Moines, or Lincoln or Omaha or something like that. And then the next week we would do Portland and Seattle, or Portland and Sacramento.
That's cool.
And then we would go to Chicago and Minneapolis. And then we would go do Boston and Charlotte. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then
we hit Southeast.
Then we need to cover. We need to do like Tampa and Atlanta.
Yeah.
And then
that'd be really good.
Then we'd have to hit Texas, and it just keeps going, right? But see if anyone wants to comment on this. If they would show up, and what we would do is we would sit there. We'd set up like either in a church or a theater. And we would set up some couches and mics just like this.
Yeah.
And you and I would just do just what we're doing. Yeah. Different cities we could bring, like Marshall.
Yeah.
Bernie.
Yeah.
Parker.
Yep.
The guys that have done the podcast for a long time.
Amber.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we would announce it. And like Marshall's going to this group of cities. And
could we just have Mav in the background with a gator driving around on the stage?
Yeah.
Can we do that? Okay.
And just make it authentic.
That'd be fun. Yeah. Put some mud in there.
Yeah. In fact, maybe Amber could go to a lot of these.
That'd be really cool.
So yeah. Let's start brainstorming everybody on where we would go. You know, say 2 cities a week for 3 or 4 weeks. I think that'd be cool. The other announcement I need to make is we're going to do a live. We're putting out a live album
You are.
of the last tour.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
very cool.
It's off at
Yeah.
mastering now. Grizz
Okay.
has been working on it,
Has he?
and I mean, it
cool.
captures that last show pretty well. You know, it is what it is. You hear it all. It's the last show. You'll feel like you're there. Really, Grizz did just a great job of capturing that.
So we could pour some beer on the ground and let it dry, and then like so your feet would be sticky, and just close your eyes and
Close
listen
your
to it. Yeah,
smell
Billy
the-
Bob's has got that. Yeah,
Smell the stale
exactly,
beer.
exactly.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's it.
good. Got a couple of comments here.
Okay, let's see what we got.
This one right here.
Will your
Interested,
Q&A
Raleigh?
from Raleigh be posted on YouTube? Rachel, I don't know, but you were there. But I'm not sure. I did a Q&A in Raleigh a couple days ago with a great friend of mine, Grant Castleberry.
Okay, here's a good one too.
Jimmy Crouch says, fun question. What was your biggest takeaway highlight from Yee Yee Day 2024? I mean, my biggest highlight was running through that mud bog in Old Alice, the 77 D10. That was a great time. I loved it.
That's cool. Let's hit another email.
Okay. This next one says, hey, Granger, my name is Andrew, and lately I've been feeling called to ministry, but not sure if I really am. I'm not sure if God is really calling me or just my feelings. My question is, how do you know it's really God calling me? Thanks. I love your music and your podcast. Thanks, Andrew. Hey, great question, buddy. I'm so glad you asked this, and I'll answer this every week if I have to, because it's interesting. I've been saying lately, you said, how do I know if it's really God or just my feelings? I would add, or my indigestion. You know,
Yeah, sure.
when people say God called me, I'm like, are you sure it wasn't the beans you ate last night?
Right.
That's
Yeah.
funny, but actually a legitimate question.
If it is, you'll be tested very, very quickly, and you will know.
Yeah. So,
well,
the answer, Andrew, I mean, it's easy. The calling you feel in your feelings, that's important. That is a very important first step. That's what opens the door. That's like saying, I want to be a country singer, and I really like singing, and I really want to be a country singer. Great. That's the first qualification.
Yeah.
Really, for anything. You're in radio for many years, Ant.
Yeah.
The first qualification to be in radio is to want to be in radio, right?
Yeah.
I think you can say that in every
You like it,
sport,
you
in
good at
every
it.
hobby, in every career, in every relationship. The first step in a relationship is you got to like her.
Yeah, and two, I don't think if you can't draw, you go, I want to be an artist.
Yeah.
It's something you kind of already have
Yeah.
an innate ability to do. There's something that's born in you that God's given you. You asked me when we were in Israel, we were there 3 days, I think. And he's like, has the bug bit you? And I asked what bug, the missionary bug. I was like, I don't know. Let's see. Maybe. Because I'm enjoying this. And then another 3 days went by, and I'm like, maybe support is my thing.
Yeah,
Like
you said, hey, man, I don't think the missionary bug has bit me.
Yeah, I don't think it's only. So let me ask you a question.
That's honest.
What would you do, or what does the person do that is not called to be a missionary? How does he help missionaries?
Yeah.
Because I do think that kind of like doing this. Doing this as a podcast is not my strength, but supporting and producing you is.
Okay.
And and I enjoy this. Came over and we rewired the room.
Yeah, we did.
Who has that idea and thinks that that's fun?
We did. So
I
Andrew, I want to get to what you're asking here, because I think it's actually simpler than you think. So I love that you feel called, and I'm not going to tell you that you're not feeling, because feelings are real. You're experiencing that. And so what I'm going to tell you is the next step is to get plugged in. If you're not already, that's a huge problem, but you should get plugged in with your local church, and you should tell your leadership in the church this feeling. Say, hey, I'm feeling called to ministry. And then they say, fantastic. Let's begin a discipleship program of some kind. Education
Very important.
is important here. Some kind of Bible college is a good beginning, or a seminary degree is a good step here. A one-on-one discipleship program that's intentional from your pastor is important here. Ways to get you to get some reps in actually teaching is important here. And then what happens is you stop relying on your feelings at that point. You stop relying on, is God calling or not? Is he or not? Then now you've handed it over to the leadership in your local church, where they can then collectively affirm you together and say, you remember when we had this conversation several years ago about you feeling called? We all have been collectively talking, and we want to affirm your calling. And that is that there's so much assurance in that, knowing I've been affirmed through my wise counsel and leadership around me to my calling. And it's the same thing in any other hobby, our sport, our radio, our country music, essentially getting a record deal with a bunch of executives affirming you are now ready for major radio.
Yeah.
And we want to invest in you.
We see something.
We see something. We want to put your song on major radio, that we are collectively affirming. You don't get to decide if you're on major radio by yourself. You get to decide if you want to be, but you don't get to decide if you're going to be on there. And why would ministry be any different? Ministry is so much more important than a song on the radio, where there's so much more at stake. And we have to be, as ministers, we have to be judged for what we say. And if our teaching is right or not, we will be strictly judged. Why would we want to risk that? So, Andrew, I'd say stay involved with this podcast, but most importantly, go and tell everyone at your local church, this is the path you want to start on. It's like Candyland, the game. This is your first square.
Yeah.
Here you are.
That's good.
Let's see if you can get to the end.
Got a couple comments from what you proposed just moments ago, if you'd like to hit some.
Yeah. Let's hit that. David says the whole idea of live in-person Q&A sounds great. Cool. Andrew said that'd be fun. Lindsay says, come to Delaware, please.
When was the last time you were in Delaware?
We played the Delaware State Fair a couple years ago, 3 years ago. It's hard with COVID. I forget the years. And then we played quite a bit. We played Dewey Beach several times. We played Dewey Beach, which is a beautiful place in the summertime in Delaware. Yeah. Terry says anywhere within 2 hours of Myrtle Beach would be great. Okay. So I think that's Charlotte. I said Charlotte, right? Maybe that may be 3 or 4 hours. Tasha says, Kansas City, please. Pretty please. I'll cook for you like I do for Butch and Bull. Great. I'm glad we nailed it with Kansas City.
I'm going to keep that one starred. There's some cooking in there.
Yeah. And Betsy says, come to Atlanta. So that was another city I thought would be a good hub.
Would be cool.
I'm thinking like Charlotte, Columbia, Tampa, Atlanta, Austin, Phoenix.
Oh yeah.
Portland, Seattle.
In the winter.
Yeah.
Phoenix in the winter.
And Kansas City, Des Moines, or Omaha, Chicago, and Minnesota, Minneapolis. Just kind of shooting from the hip here.
You may have just routed everything.
Yeah. Oh, and I forgot to say probably Boston.
Oh, yeah.
That would cover Dewey Beach, Delaware.
Sure.
And I don't know, maybe DC, or that might be too close to Charlotte. Maybe probably Jersey area, Boston. Yeah, we'll be thinking about this. Everybody be thinking about this. What do you want to do now?
Well, we've been in this for 45 minutes. You want to do one more?
We are just rocking.
Yeah.
Let's do one more.
Okay.
Do we have any questions on here, or do you want to go to back to the
let's
email?
We've got a few, but it is a good thing. There's a lot coming in. There's either comments and there's a couple questions. Okay, well, check this question out. See what you think about it.
Ricky Bobby says, Granger, do you ever consider hosting a car show with Yee Yee name in the Northeast? It would be so great to put the word of God into my streets here at home, or even at a car show. Yeah, man, that's definitely a consideration. We've considered doing a car show at the next Yee Yee Day, actually. So that'd be good too.
Very nice. Yeah, more comments. Just saying hi, and they want you to come to their towns. So there's a lot of those, but we'll keep these and sort through them, because then one might ring a bell that you haven't thought of.
You want me to grab one real quick here?
Yeah, do that email.
Hey, friend, Andy from Australia here. Love listening to your words while I work away. I'm blessed to have a father of beautiful 7-year-old boy-girl twins. 7-year-old boy-girl twins. Their mother left me for a woman 6 years ago. I have an amazing relationship. And I thank her for giving me the most amazing, beautiful, healthy children. I go to church with my children on the weeks that they are with me, but I'm scared about their mother's relationship and how that's going to impact their relationship with God and what the Bible speaks. Your opinion on how I could approach this and protect them from our very judgmental Christian brothers and sisters. Jesus is King. Thanks, Andy. Okay, so sounds like two parts to your question here, Andy. One is how to raise them, but I'm scared of how their mother. No, that's not your question. Your question, really, the only one you've asked is how to approach this and protect them from a very judgmental Christian brothers and sisters. Well, this is such a tough nuance here, Andy. But you're gonna have to trust God in this, because ultimately, back to that conversation we had earlier in the podcast about being reborn and being born of the Spirit. The same is going to go for your kids, and so although the environment that they're around will significantly impact their understanding of who God is, their heart is in His hands, and this is going to require incredible amount of patience from you, incredible amount of prayer, and some really, really intimate conversations that you have with them, specifically walking through Bible. And I would, for anyone listening, I would highly recommend family worship time in your own families. And what that might look like, Andy, is, especially with 7-year-old boy-girl twins, you're looking at about 10 minutes max. And during this 10 minutes, and I want you to do this every day that they're with you, every single day. I want to see a portion of it reading through the Bible, not picking parts, but actually moving through. So my family and I currently we're in the book of Mark. And so we every night we pick up where we left off the night before in Mark. It could be, sometimes I read to them one paragraph. Sometimes I read to the end of a thought, or to the end of a scene in the book of Mark. And that might be 3, 4, 5 paragraphs. It might be a whole page, but it just depends on where does the scene start and where does the scene end. And I want you to do that, estimating that this reading time is about 3 to 4 minutes long. And after you finish, have a brief discussion on what we just read. And then what I do is I ask my kids to pray specifically, not anything else, but just that passage. So let's pray based on what we just read. So Lincoln, what could we pray for what we just read? And he goes, I'll thank Jesus that he opened the eyes of the blind man with the mud, and that he's works miracles. He'll say like the simplest idea from what we just read. And then London will usually go a little deeper, and she'll say, Lord, will you give us the faith to be able to see even when we're struggling and our minds don't have a sign in front of us. Will you make us believe? And then Amber will go even deeper, and then I'll finish the prayer. And then with our time left, we'll sing a song together. And boom, there's 10 minutes, and that's the family worship. Andy, that will impact these kids more than your judgmental Christian brothers and sisters, more than what they learn in school. They'll remember what they do with dad. And what you want to do, the goal is to reveal to them who God is through how he has revealed himself in the living, breathing word of God. And if you do this consistently, you'll find yourself walking through book after book after book in the Bible. And after a few years, you will have made it a significant way through the Bible. That is where I would lean, Andy, all day long. And for anyone else that's listening in a different kind of situation, that's where I would go.
Man, you reminded me of something when you were just talking about that. And that is because he's asking one question: how do you a one-on-one battle with this? Instead of filling up your time with that, we talk a lot about filling up our vessel. What do you fill up your time with? What do you fill up yourself with? word of God, or is it, the word of the world? If you fill your kids up, there's no room for the battle between what you're concentrating on right now, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
There's not time or room for that, because you're already full of his word, of his worship, of the time together, that you don't have to worry about actually facing those things. That battle's already won.
Amen.
That's such good stuff, man.
Amen. Well,
Great
we love you
reminders.
guys, and we will see you. This video, if you're watching live,
Mhm.
this will repost on Monday's podcast.
Yeah.
If you're listening Monday, then we did this 2 days ago live, and we'd love to be able to announce the next time we do this, and we'd love to have you guys join us either way. Don't forget about that Yee Yee military launch right now at yeeyee.com, and we'll see you guys soon. Love y'all.